It's a sad video. I mean, anytime your eyebrows and your nails are not together, because my eyebrows are not together, and I need a feel. It's just life is just not together. So, I'm here today to answer your questions and talk about some decisions and some things that have changed lately. Yeah, and this is probably just gonna be like the realest chit chat you don't ever had around here. But basically, that's why I just look like this, because this is what life is right now. Okay, not like super glamorous and kicking it. I'm like, get your life together and kicking it, Liz. Right? Okay, so I wasn't gonna make this video, but you guys can thank Gary Vee, because I was binge watching his videos, and he was talking about how he wished he would have documented all of the journey, the low points, the really sad things that happened, the failures, things that were not as great, and as well as some of the early highs, right? So I think that I've done a pretty good job at showing you guys some of the highs, but maybe not some of the lows. And this may not be a low. It's just, it depends on your perspective, right? Or your expectations of me. That can be a thing. So yeah, I'm just going to be like really just chilling and talking to you. How I would if you were just like in the room sitting with me and we were homies, okay? So I guess the number one question is my location. Location. Yes, people want to know where I live. I live in Southern California again. I know, sad.
Crying tear emojis. Let it drop. Okay.
Yeah, so I guess I decided to do this video this week because of Gary Vee, and because I get a lot of inboxes right now, and I just was like, okay, I have to tell people, I have to tell them somehow, but I've been incredibly sad about it. And so this video would have been very different a couple weeks ago, okay? Been very different, and I didn't want it to be what that would have been. But I had a personal thing that brought me back to California, and I had to make a decision once I got here whether to stay or go back, and I decided to stay. So that's as much detail as I'm going to go into in that section about it, because that's all I can give you on it. But I will say that I made this decision. I did not have to, okay?
I got receipts and I got time, so don't try me.
But what I am saying is that I have to make myself laugh in this video, guys, or I'm going to cry, and I don't want to cry. We might cry today, but I'm trying not to, okay? So I had to weigh the pros and the cons and look at what I needed to do in all aspects of my life. And yeah, that's what I based this decision on. I also talked to the people that were closest to me in my life. And yeah, I made the decision, okay? And some of them were even incredibly sad and were like, no, don't go back, don't stay here, there's nothing here, like all this stuff. But ultimately, I have to live with my decisions and what I choose for my life, and so that's what happened. I will say that some of the things that I thought would take me like a year to accomplish in Chicago only took me the 5 months. So there's certain things that I learned about myself, great opportunities that I had, but I'll get into that later, because I want to answer your questions first. So the next question that most people have been asking me is like, where have I been social media wise, all that type of stuff. I need to take a break, and I know I tell you guys all the time, don't take a break, and I usually do not take a break, but I think that with some of the adjusting that I've had to do, and some of the things that have been going on around me, regarding me, things said to me or about me, I needed to take a breather, okay? And so, dang it, nope, keep it together. Okay, so a lot of you guys see me as a very strong person, and Liz gets through anything, and she has endurance, and she perseveres, and like those are some of the things that some people have told me that follow me, right? And I am all of those things, but I am also an incredibly sensitive person, okay? And I have worked on it over the years. It's gotten much better, but still, my poor little tender heart, it gets hurt sometimes. And I think that coming back here was fine. And some people I talked to, that I hadn't really talked to since I had been gone, which was very difficult to deal with while I was away because I moved to a state that I knew no one and had nothing. And so I think that a lot of people don't understand how hard that was, but it was very hard. It's probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life thus far. But yeah, people didn't realize that aspect. And so talking to them, seeing their reasoning, all of that, some people apologizing, for what they felt in the moment of that stuff, it kind of hurt a little bit because I didn't even know what was happening. Other things I knew, like perspectives people had of me, people came and told me, or for instance, I walked into a coffee shop and someone was like, "Whoa, hey, I haven't seen you. I heard you left because X, Y, and Z, and yada, yada, yada," right? And so a lot of people will say, "Oh, who cares?" and get over that and don't listen to all of that, right? So I think I would be a liar to tell you that I don't care. There's a lot of perspectives that I've heard that, people twist the facts and they twist like they can repeat something wrong, right? But I think for some of the stuff that was being said on a consistent basis, it just kind of hurt my feelings. Like, to be real, it hurts, and I think that I think that I'm not going to try and defend or even mention the things that were said about me because I know ultimately why I made the decisions I make, and I know that God knows that too. And people that are truly know me, truly love me, and are truly in my corner would try to understand, or they would know that too, right? And so I realized, because I have done it as well. I think that we all do. We've all judged another person's life, their decisions, things that they've done, even though we have all, we see in part, or we hear in part, we understand in part, we think that we know. And so I think that it was a great lesson for me to learn, because I can't tell you that I'm completely like clean and flawless in the area of judging other people's lives. And by my life being scrutinized in a certain way, I think that it's taught me a lot about compassion, mercy, grace, and understanding. Um, and so, yeah, that's what I'm going to say about that. But I did need to take a break because I felt like I was becoming kind of like my heart was becoming hardened a little bit. And I don't like to be that kind of person. And so if you guys had to see me cry in a video instead of see me be like a more cold, callous person, I'd rather deal with the issue at hand or the thing that is hurting me rather than act like and pretend like it didn't hurt at all. So that's kind of like why I took a step back. And plus, like, I'm not a huge fan of subliminals, and people think that I put subliminals up, but a lot of times I'm talking to myself as encouragement, like, hey, it is what it is. Or I'm trying to encourage someone else to get over it, or I'm trying to get past my own self-critic. A lot of you guys do not know that about me yet, so I guess this is a more transparent video than I've probably ever posted on my YouTube channel, or on Facebook, because I think I've talked about it on Periscope, that I've had to come leaps and bounds in self-criticism. And so before anybody else ever criticizes me, I've had an entire dialogue in my head. And yeah, like, I can sometimes not be the kindest person to myself, right? And so when it's like that, it's kind of hard for me to create. And so I just needed to take some space and some time to kind of get together. Also, another question has been, what am I going to do with this channel? And a lot of requests. So people have a lot of requests for tutorials. People have a lot of requests for inspirational stuff. People have a lot of requests for like daily vlogging. So I guess what I can say is that I do see where tutorials can happen, and I do see where some inspirational business stuff can happen. But vlogging, I'm just like kind of like, I kind of want to take a step back from it. Because I kind of feel like some of some of the perspective stuff comes from people being able to see. So I just haven't decided yet, and I'm like I said, like none of this is set in stone. This is we just want to have a conversation with you guys and be real about things. So also, I have an opportunity in California that is more beauty based, which a lot of you guys, if you don't know, if you're a new follower, the beauty based stuff is where I originated from. I believe that it's one of the major things in my life, and so I'm going to take that opportunity, and that channel is a totally different thing. So I think that a lot of my energy will be going towards that, which doesn't mean that I'm going to abandon this. I just don't know how this is going to fit into my life right now. So that's kind of where that is at. Also, people have asked a lot about like my services and what's happening with those things. And so I wasn't quite sure if I was going to talk about that in this video, but I think I am. And you know, if people get mad, they get mad, but it is what it is. So for those of you that don't know, I now have several companies or things that I make money from. So ElizabethPatrice.com, it's also a membership site. People pay for that. My overlaid company, and another one that it's like my baby. And so I haven't necessarily announced it or anything because I'm building it, and then you guys will hear about it later, okay? So yeah, I do a lot of stuff. There's a lot of ways that I make money, but I will say that has been extremely disheartening. As much as it has been amazing in the last 6 months, and I've done crazy incredible things, and I have far surpassed even my expectations of myself. There's still things that happen that are pretty disheartening, and I think maybe it just was happening all at once, and so I just needed to like kind of chill out. So right now I have like 9 invoices out, right? And so for those of you that don't really know, like if I design something, if I do consultations, if I speak at an event, all of that, whatever. There's pricing for all of that, or if I'm coaching. So, I do have a monthly coaching fee that's like a 3-month contract. So a lot of times, because I come from a place of, I'm trying to explain this in the best way. So if I come from a place of, when I started, I had nothing. I had no money. I didn't really have anything, and I barely had support. And so a lot of times my heart is that if I could just do all this stuff for free and make money some other way, guys, I totally would, right? But it's also a way that I make a living for myself. And so a lot of times when I hear someone's story and they say like, oh, I need to make payments, or I can give you half of the deposit and then I could pay on this day and that day or whatever, and I can't do automatic payments. I used to be in the place where I would just be like, okay, no problem, we'll work it out. And so some of those situations are from me. I'll take the blame that I just should have had people pay up front, and I should have made sure that they at least paid their deposit for certain things. But a lot of stuff has changed. And so recently people have been, hitting me up for stuff. But then when I tell them, oh, you have to pay up front, they don't want to do that. And so that's their choice. Everybody has a choice of what they want to do. But for me, it's incredibly difficult. Can you imagine if you go to your job and you've worked the last 2 weeks and you've produced and you've been on time and you've done everything that you needed to do for that company to succeed, and they say, guess what, we're not going to pay you today because we had X, Y, and Z happen, or I forgot, or oh, I don't have it, or this is a luxury to me and I have to take care of this. Well, it wasn't a luxury when someone was performing the service, right? So that has been really disheartening, and it's not like I don't have money coming in. It's not like, previous times where it's been really, really hard as an entrepreneur. That's not the case, but I just kind of want to figure that portion out, right? Maybe I just need somebody to handle that stuff because I don't want to handle it. I don't. She don't. I can't. I won't. Like, that's just how I feel about it right now. Because I don't want to argue over money, and I don't want to have to hit you up 50 million times for you to pay. And it honestly, feelings, not facts, but feelings, when that happened, just so other entrepreneurs I know that watch me I know they can relate, but other people that aren't, that maybe don't understand, it makes you feel like dishonored, like you're common, like you weren't appreciated. Like, it just makes you feel like, did I do a bad job? But then when you see the person using your content that you created for the next 6 months for them, and they're succeeding, it just kind of like, whew. A couple weeks ago, this video would have been like, I'm about 4 or 5 seconds from wildin', you know, uh, that kind of stuff. So I just had to like take a deep breath and let it go. So yeah, that's cool. I'm not actually mad at anyone. I want people to know that I'm not mad at anyone. It just frustrates me. People are really curious if I'm out of God, if I don't love him anymore. If what? Like, yes, I love Jesus. Are you guys serious? Like, me and Jesus are a thing. We've been a thing for, I don't know, a long time. No. Yeah, I'm not out of God, guys. I actually do attend church. I guess because I used to post so much about the church that I attended, then it became like a thing, like, and you guys were like excited to see that stuff. But this actually isn't like a ministry page. You know the whole thing where people say, "Oh, your life is a ministry." Yeah, and I talk about Jesus, and I talk about how he affects my life and all that greatness. But I think that for me, one of the things that bothers me the most is that when people have regular, like, questions about stuff that is under my expertise, and then they're like, oh, do you go to this popular church? And I'm like, why? Oh, because I really want to be connected to you because you go to this church, or if not, then I'm going to find somebody that goes to a church within this network, or that type of stuff is kind of really like different for me. And so I don't know, like, whatever. I go to church, I talk to Jesus. Like, it's not a secret, it's not anything bad. If I want to post a photo, I post a photo. But honestly, all of my personal accounts went away. To be honest with you, I decided I didn't really need social media accounts that were gonna be like, this is personal and this is for family and friends, and then this is like my business. Like, it kind of just all zoomed into one. And business wise, I just didn't really feel like posting about church anymore. So it's nothing personal. I appreciate all of the churches that I've attended. I mean, I don't know what else you guys want me to say, but please don't make the mistake of ever thinking that I've left Jesus. Because if I left Jesus, I would tell you. um, what other question? Oh, some of you guys have asked about my siblings and my friends and all that. So some of the people you've been seeing lately, they're people that have been in my life for a very, very long time. I just never posted them before. I actually give people an option of whether they want to be in my social media. And so, some of my, I'll say, like, family, but some of my really, really close friends that I've had for over 12 years, they are more sort of family to me, decided that they would be a part of it now, where maybe before they opted out, or they didn't really want to be. And so, that may be a little bit of difference for you guys. And I wish I wasn't using my phone to record, because then I could go through the inboxes on Instagram, because I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, someone asked me, do you regret your decision? And I have to say that I do not regret it. I'm not sorry. I really am not. I really feel like I needed to do this for me. I learned a lot, guys. I learned a lot. And I learned a lot about myself and about, I guess, others around me, right? I guess I learned a lot about what I needed in life and what I don't need in life. And what I ultimately probably, I don't want to word this. Okay, so for me, I had gotten to this place where I was coming and going to a job that I hated, working on my business stuff, trying. I felt like I was always like sinking and never like swimming. Um, and it just was not the most enjoyable thing, right? And so a lot of people say, well, that's everybody's life, right? That's everyday life. That's what people go through in life. Like, get over yourself, right? But for me, I just didn't want to accept that that had to be the reality, right? That doesn't have to be life. And so one of the things I learned moving to Chicago was that I had a choice to live, right? And so going out and experiencing different things, even if it was just free stuff, and spending time with people and getting to know people and building new relationships and building businesses and all of that, I could experience life and live it whether I was doing it by myself or with a group of people. Which, for those of you that don't really know me yet, I'm an extreme extrovert. And so I love being around people and doing a lot of things on my own. I realized that even if I was back in California and I wanted to go to a particular museum, or I wanted to go out and eat dinner, or I wanted to go to the bookstore or whatever, even if it was by myself, it was better than not going at all. And I think that for a lot of us, we can get stuck in the going to work and coming home, and I'm tired and not living life. And I've decided and I chose at the beginning of this year to live my life to the fullest. And although I have been sad about certain things lately, I have been living my life, and I have been trying new things and stepping out of my comfort zones, and just doing what is necessary. And so I think that that is a huge lesson that I pulled from that. A lot of people ask me, do I regret going and like going without whatever they seemed or thought was a plan? No, I don't. I think that the way that it happened, I absolutely wouldn't change anything about it. I guess I could have said bye better. I think that's maybe people's biggest gripe with me is like, oh, but you should have came back and said bye. But I knew that if I came back, I would not have gone back probably, just because to a certain group of people in my life, it was a terrible decision to them. And their voices mattered a lot more than what I thought God's voice was for me and what was important for me. And so huge reason of why I don't regret my decision is because I feel like I was becoming a bitter, resentful, just very hardened individual, because I was always going to wonder if I should have done this or not. And so I feel like I accomplished a lot. I mean, I started 2 new companies. I did a lot of things. And I ultimately could have stayed and did life there and built like a new life there, and I don't know, like I just think that it was good for me. I think that I learned so much, and it's hard to put into words right now, but I learned a lot of things, and I really am grateful for the experience. And my one of my best friends, he thinks that I'm going to do this again. He's like, "Oh, yeah, right. I give you like 5 years tops. Like you complete this beauty stuff, and then you're going to move away. You're going to go to New York or something. Like you're not going to stay here." He's convinced. And I'm not really convinced, but we never know. We never know. And then this another follower of mine, hey Cindria, she was like, "Oh, I could totally see you moving." Da, da, da. And so it's just kind of funny that people see me that way right now. I probably just can't see it myself. But yeah, not Chicago wasn't bad. A lot of people are like, "Oh, for you to be back, it must have been bad." No, it wasn't bad. It's just different. It was a different place. It was an incredible time and learning experience, and I had tons of fun too, right? And that's the kind of fun I'm trying to have in Cali with you guys. A lot of people have asked me about events. I do still want to do events. Every other day I'm kind of like, I think I'll be okay in a little bit, guys. But as of right now, some stuff, it's a little sad and it's a little disheartening. And so I know that some of you guys are going to be very disappointed in this. And I think that this was the hardest part about this for me, was that right before I came back to Cali, someone told me, like, you don't even realize how many people watch you because they never say anything, right? You hear a lot more negative voices than you hear positive. but a lot of people depend on you to do the things that you do so that they can be inspired to win. And I did think of you guys because one of like the things that I wrote down like a million years ago when I started my channels and my blogs and stuff was that I didn't want to like lead people the wrong way or to harm the people that were viewing me. And so, uh, but I also didn't want to put the burden on myself to stay and, do something that I just didn't decide to do anymore just because I didn't want to let you guys down or feel like somebody wouldn't be inspired or feel like, you know, yeah. So, I'm sorry if this disappointed you. Um, I hope that it doesn't. I hope that me sharing the journey and showing you and being vulnerable and transparent about these things will show you that, like, not everything is perfect in life. And sometimes you set out to do things and you do them, and then it's on a different timetable, and stuff happens and you have to adjust. And so I hope that you can, like, get something from this as well. And, if you unfollow me, you unfollow me, and that's just what it is. But I, I think one of the things that I told God one day was like, I didn't ask to be inspirational. I didn't ask you for this. Like I didn't ask for people to depend on me. I just kind of want to do the things that I love and do them well, And I don't know why this has to be a part of it. And so that's probably another reason that I've taken a little bit of a step back, because I feel like I realized um, going away, meeting some of the faces and hearing people, and then realizing things about myself, I had a moment where, so Overlaid had been in my mind for probably over a year. There's a lot of ideas up here. Sometimes I write them down. I have like a note in Evernote, right? This is a long video. I hope you have a snack. So, Evernote, yeah. So I had Overlaid in my head, and I never wrote it down because it was very big and massive for me, and I was just like, no, this will never work. And I kept talking myself out of it. And so some of my friends in Chicago were like, hey, this company sounds lit, you have to put this up there, like you have to, you gotta get you gotta get this company rolling, like this is legit. And so we got these like big post-it notes, the wall size, the massive ones. And so I wrote out the entire vision for it and all the pricing and the products, and I started contacting people I wanted on my team and all this stuff. And so all was left was for me to make the products and the website. And so, I didn't actually, I made a deadline for myself, but my friends did not keep me to that deadline. And I did not know why, because my other website, elizabethpatrice.com, they had told me, like, okay, this has to be done by this day. Like, get it done, Liz. Like, come on, you can do this, right? So this other website for Overlaid, they were like, no, I don't know, right? So I finish it, and I finish it a day earlier than I thought I was supposed to, right? We wrote the vision on Monday. I finished it by Wednesday. And my friend was sitting there on the couch looking at the website on my laptop before I released it to the public, and she was in awe, and she kept looking at me, and she's like, wow, Liz, like, wow, I'm impressed, like, I really am impressed. And I said, well, why? Like, is it really that good? Like, I don't know. She said, no, it's amazing, but I just didn't think you were going to get it all done in time. I didn't think you were going to be able to do it. Like, this is impressive. I can't believe that you, like, nobody else does this, right? And so I had this moment where I had to, like, celebrate, and I had to look at who I was as a person and what I could accomplish and be proud in that moment. And I feel like we live in a society that teaches punishment and criticism and to be down on yourself more than celebration and having proud moments. And we teach people that that's prideful and that that's the wrong thing to do. But I think I saw myself in a different way in that moment and was able to say, like, wow, yeah, like, you're dope. Like, you can get things done and you can get them done fast with excellence, and you don't, like, sacrifice quality for quantity. Like you literally, like, busted this thing out because you had it in your head. Like, you saw it, and as you saw it, you were able to create it. And so, like, a lot of things as far as me being creative and operating as a creator in the earth, like, I really came alive in that moving to Chicago. I was extremely affirmed there. Not that there was never any correcting moments, because I still remember the day that one of the elders that was covering me told me, like, hey, God said to tell you that you can do anything you want to do. Like, that's how he built you. Like, you could literally do anything, but he doesn't want you to just do anything. He wants you to do the God things with him. And I remember, because I was trying to make a business decision, and literally there was a good thing in front of me, but it wasn't the God thing. And so I had to turn down the good thing because it wasn't the God thing, you know? And I learned a lot of that, it being in Chicago. And I'm so grateful for the people that I experienced and got to know there, and the areas that I spent time in. Um, but I just think that if I hadn't taken that chance, if I hadn't taken that risk, if the door hadn't opened and I didn't stay, then I would have never known. And I think that there's things about me that I know now that have made me a more confident, a more bold, and more assured person. And even though I may be sad about some events and I may be frustrated at times, and this is a moment where I don't really know, you know, I don't really know what's going to happen in all aspects of things. I'm not really sure. But I know that I can do it if I, like, do it with God and I set my mind to it, and I set goals and plans. And people think that I don't have plans for things, but I do. I just don't broadcast that part of it, you know? Um, but yeah. So I don't really know how to end this video, and I'm sure you guys are gonna have, like, more questions or your thoughts and opinions, and go ahead and comment them down below. Go ahead and say what you gotta say. That's fine. Kind of like navigating through and taking some self-care. And that doesn't mean that I can't post a tutorial video, because that's just being lazy, right? I'm going to post a tutorial video this week for you guys, because I really do enjoy doing them. I really do. But I'm just kind of taking a moment, and that may disappoint you, but for me, I feel like it's necessary right now, and it's not disappointing me. I'm also enjoying a lot of time with my family and friends, and living the life and trying to design and create a life that I love, you know. And I think that a lot of times we live lives for other people and we try to please them. And I decided January 1st of 2017 that I was not going to live a life pleasing people and keeping them happy with me when I was destroying, upsetting, and frustrating myself. That I would try my hardest just to please God and not expect perfection out of myself. But yeah, this is where I'm at. So I know that this was not the happiest video. I really do still care about you guys, and we're just gonna, like, hope for the best that you guys still love me too. And I will be back with a tutorial for sure. Okay, bye.